Welcome back to the channel, guys. You're in the garage of Mr. Spikes and you're joining me, Mr. Flea, as well. We're doing a little bit of maintenance work on Spikes Hayabusa. It was doing its annual MOT and we've got a failure. We've got a failure in the garage. What is it? Well, it's just a simple front wheel bearing. I'll just show you how it is. You can listen. Just excuse the wind today. It's you might hear that on the camera, but hopefully you can hear this. Hear that? Proper excess play. What we've done, we've got it on the arbor stand. We're going to quickly whip this front wheel out and we'll show you how to replace the bearings. Okay guys, that's a front wheel out. Like I said, we're using the arbor stand, so if you're just using a normal front paddock stand on the Hayabusa's, right pain in the arse, you've got to take the actual mud guard off, lift it up to take the wheel out. Arbor stand, plenty of clearance, jobs are good and you're done. Just supported the actual calipers, a bit of bungee straps each side, saves them knocking onto your fairings and whatnot. So this is a culprit, and it's these bearings inside here are gone. Because we're going to take the bearings out from the inside, this actual dust seal, that's still going to stay intact and we can reuse that, that's no problem. Now inside there is an actual spacer. Now that spacer has got slight movement, so if you can move the spacer up and down, you can see that, you can just see that it's moving. So what you need to do is move the actual spacer to one side, which allows you to see the actual edge of the bearing, which you can then use a metal drift and knock the bearing clean out. I've got the wheel supported on just a couple of pieces of wood. Got a rag on there just so we can protect the wheel from getting chipped or anything, and it also lifts the wheel off the floor, stops the actual disc from scraping onto the concrete. Now as you can see, if you're looking here, there's the culprit. You see this, how you can maneuver that inside spacer. What you need to do is push that and it reveals, if you can look right inside there, the edge of the bearing. What you do now is you take this drift, put it on the side of the bearing and give it a good smack with an hammer. This is the old school method, isn't it? You can actually get bearing pullers and whatnot, but we've not got anything like that, so this is it for us. So I'm resting that, you can hear that onto the bearing, and now it's just simply a couple of good taps. You might need to work yourself around the bearing. There's one gone. I'll just flip that up for you. There you go. So you've got the actual seal intact because it came out nice and square with the old bearing, and there's that spacer on the inside. So we've retained that. Literally flip. You can see the bearing again there. So drift. Just try and knock it out in an even manner. As simple as that. Retain this seal again. And I mean, these bearings, they're shot. You actually hold the centre of the bearing. Sometimes you can hear a little rattle. But if you hold the outer casing and hold the centre still, look at that play. That centre's still, and the play in that is unbelievable. And both of them are like that. They're rumbling, they're just nasty, and they're shot. Okay, new bearings. We're using the Koyo bearings, which is a cracking replacement. I'll just show you the play in this one. Obviously it's non-existent. This is a sealed bearing, so but it doesn't matter. If you've got some like the other ones with one seal the other side and exposing the bearings the other side, it may need packing with grease. If it does, a little bit of grease, jobs are good. And this is a completely sealed bearing, so no need for any extra grease. Now, listen, you can't hear a single thing. Play wise, absolutely, there's just nothing in there. It's absolutely solid. The bearings are the same side, left and right side, so it don't matter which order you put them in. So this section where it's going to go in, make sure it's nice and clean, a little bit of WD-40, make sure there's no crud in there or anything like that, and put one side in first, then put the seal in. You can actually use your the old bearing to tap it home, which we'll show you. in a second. This has been cleaned, nice little bit of WD in there just to give it sort of like a slippier surface. Just put a little bit on this edge of the bearing, offer the bearing up. Try and get it as square as possible. Now the perfect tool to actually hammer this home is an actual old bearing. It's the exact size. Just clean it up, offer it up, and just slowly tap the top. You'll feel it home in slightly. If you're slightly on the piss, don't worry, just keep tapping. You'll feel it just suddenly go. There you go, it's going home now. All the way. If you feel like the bearings, this one's starting to go back in itself as well, just put your original thingy and release it like that. Sometimes you can't get the actual bearing all the way home, so I've got a what size is this? 36mm socket. It's a little smaller than the actual bearing, but you can pull it onto the edge of the actual bearing. So if you pull that, and then you can just roll that round and tap that home, you can hear the solid sound of that now. And that gives you the actual space now for the actual seal. A little bit of WD on there again. Square it off with your fingers to start with. And when it's roughly where it needs to be, use the old bearing again. Try and keep that square. You'll feel also that will go solid as well. There you go. One side done. And now it's a case of flipping it. Don't forget your spacer. That's important. Your spacer drops in now, like so. Little bit of WD. Okay, spacer in. Offer the new bearing up. Old bearing again. There you go, she's gone in. And I'll just finish her off with the actual socket. It's actually flying, there's hardly any pressure. You can hear that. Solid again. There you go, look. That will just centre the actual spacer. That's all centred now. And it's a case of just putting in the seal. There you go. It's that sound. There you go, guys. That's a quick how-to. The wheel bearings, Hayabusa. Well, I hope this video's helped you out, guys. Probably saved you a few quid as well. No need to replace these seals. I mean, they are quite expensive. People do try and lever them out beforehand, but all you do is bend and damage them. So save yourself a bit of cash. Use the exact method we've just shown you, and jobs are good one. Well, thanks for sticking with us as usual. And stay tuned for more videos on the Hayabusa, TL, TLR, and we'll have a bit of exciting news coming soon as well, so stay tuned for that. And until the next one, guys, keep it wheel.